This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
Negative 28, and that's without wind chill.
This is a miracle that anyone comes out of this.
A snowstorm in the middle of a natural disaster.
Kids are constantly distracted.
We're not out here for money.
It's got me thinking about how I can help other people a lot.
I realized I am fortunate and I need to give back.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. Olean, New York is clocking in at -3 degrees with the wind chill this afternoon. Warren, Pennsylvania, a balmy -2. This guy in North Dakota says it's definitely some of the coldest temperatures he's felt in a while, too.
The last time I checked, it was negative 28, and that's without wind chill. The type of cold out there that, I don't know, like the dry kind of cold. Breathe and you start coughing on your own breath.
Hey, the good news is we'll be 34 degrees by Saturday. Kevin has your forecast coming. The Toronto airport held a press conference this afternoon to update everyone on the Delta plane that flipped on its roof and caught fire with 80 people inside on Monday. Just about every question got this answer.
We have an active investigation. Therefore, any of those questions would have to be directed toward Transportation Safety Board.
No explanation on what caused the crash. That plane landed, skidded, the wing tore off, it burst into flames and flipped on its back. 80 people were inside, including passenger Pete Carlson.
As we made our descent and made touchdown, it was just a very forceful event where all of a sudden everything just kind of went sideways. And then next thing I know is I'm upside down, still strapped in.
Captain Michael Cofield was a former commercial airline pilot for 30 years.
The first thought when I saw the airplane upside down is like, no one's walking away from this. But then the video comes out after that of folks actually coming out of the emergency exit doors.
Someone on the inside of the burning jet videotaped passengers helping each other off that plane.
Drop it! Come on!
Every single person deplaned safely. Cofield says there's only one explanation, that 80 people could be on a jet upside down on fire without a single life-threatening injury. He says those passengers witnessed the hand of God.
My first thought is, this is a miracle that anyone comes out of this.
Now to Rome, where the Pope's condition has worsened. CBS reporter Anna Matranga.
Pope Francis has developed pneumonia in both lungs, the Vatican said in a statement. Originally hospitalized 5 days ago for bronchitis, a CT scan this afternoon revealed the new, more serious diagnosis. The Vatican said the infection requires complex therapeutic treatment, but that the Pope remains in good spirits.
The Pope is 88 years old. A U.S. Circuit Court has put the final nail in the coffin today for former President Biden's $500 million student loan forgiveness plan. The 8th Circuit Court issuing a ruling that said, quote, Biden's Secretary of Education had gone well beyond their authority by designing a plan where loans are largely forgiven rather than repaid. That court is located in Missouri, where Andrew Bailey is Attorney General.
It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. I'm not going to let Joe Biden saddle working families with Ivy League debt.
Bailey said he anticipated the high court would shoot it down.
Congress has the power of the purse and has twice rejected bills like this, once in 2019, again in 2021, and the Supreme Court's already told President Biden he can't do it.
Biden's plan would have forgiven any student loan with an original balance of $12,000 or less after the person made 10 years of payments. It is a snowstorm flood in Kentucky. Governor Andy Beshear issued a warning today with a new storm on the way.
This is a snowstorm in the middle of a natural disaster. If you cannot safely power your home by the middle of today, you need to be looking at a shelter.
There's still water rescues happening as the temperatures plummet. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with a Russian delegation in Saudi Arabia today about the war in Ukraine.
I came away today convinced that they are willing to begin to engage in a serious process to determine how quickly and through what mechanism can an end be brought to this war.
Ukraine had no one at the bargaining table, and that could pose problems. A federal judge will rule today on the reach of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. 14 states want a restraining order to block DOGE from firing employees or gaining access to sensitive data at 7 federal agencies.
They want to remake
the government into something that doesn't work for the people but works for them.
DOJ is tasked with rooting out waste and abuse inside the federal government. Yesterday, Musk found millions of dollars in Social Security checks being mailed out to dead Americans. Andrew Cherkosky is a former federal prosecutor and constitutional expert. He was asked if the work of Musk is illegal.
There's the appointments clause of the Constitution, which requires some particular individuals to be approved through the advice and consent of the Senate. But when it comes to just an advisor to the president's authority, and the president maintains authority over the actions of their senior advisors, there's plenty of senior advisors within the White House, and that's been the case throughout the history of the presidency of the United States.
He predicts the judge will allow Elon Musk to stay on the job.
So this is nothing new. President Trump is essentially saying whatever is going on with Doge, the buck stops with him in the White House, in the Oval Office. And so these are people who are operating on his behalf and his behest, not independently.
And Florida's heartbeat bill that bans abortions after a heartbeat is detected as soon as 6 weeks has saved tens of thousands of babies in a single year. Our own Greg Gillespie has new data released today.
Sarah, Florida's Heartbeat Protection Act went into law after a lengthy legal battle that made it all the way to the state Supreme Court, ending with 6 of 7 justices approving. The law bans abortion once a heartbeat is found, with exceptions for rape, incest, and human trafficking. State officials said today 23,000 babies have been saved in less than a year. Greg Gillespie, Family Life News.
Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, 20 inches of snow for a few towns in New York. We'll tell you where. More prisons join the prison strike, and Christians descend on Albany. Those stories after weather with Kevin Williams.
The call for tonight and tomorrow, partly cloudy and bitterly cold with a few flurries. Still a brisk breeze. Heavy accumulations of snow. Some areas again to the south and southeast of Lake Ontario through the period. Low temperatures tonight, single digits. High temps tomorrow, teens and low 20s. Wind chills frequently at or below zero. Then on Thursday, rather cloudy with a touch of snow and high temperatures in the lower 20s.
All right, Kevin, checking the stories, making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. 20 inches of lake effect snow is possible through tomorrow off Lake Ontario north of Syracuse. Oswego County and the city of Oswego have both declared states of emergency, as well as Fulton, the village of Mexico, and the town of Parrish. WSYR meteorologist John DePasquale in Syracuse.
And I anticipate that band continuing right into tonight, at least through the first part of the night in the same area, basically, and will intensify, I think, early tonight before that band starts to slowly weaken and shift south.
Heavy snow collapsed at least one roof in Oswego County. The Walmart in Central Square had to close to allow for removal of snow from the roof. 4 more prisons just joined the strike in New York State. Attica, Wendy, Groveland, and Lakeview correctional facilities now striking alongside Collins and Elmira over long and unsafe shifts. Wendy Correctional Facility guard Jordan Phillips tells WIVB.
We're not out here for money. It's not what this is about. We want to be safe. We want the civilian staff to be safe, and we want the incarcerated individual to be safe. And if we aren't being provided with the proper tools and the proper staff to ensure that there's not drugs and weapons getting into this facility, it's not possible.
Southern Tier Assemblyman Phil Palmisano.
Inmate on staff assaults are up over 76%. Inmate on inmate assaults are up over 169%. This is a dangerous and unsustainable path that we're on.
The State Department of Corrections is blaming the walkouts on rogue union members. Christian activists will descend on the New York State Capitol next month for Legislative Day. Family Life's Bob Price has a preview.
The Empire State Plaza Convention Center in Albany will host this day-long conference on Tuesday, March 18th. New York Family's Executive Director Jason McGuire says Legislative Day provides Christians cutting-edge information about public policy that directly impacts them and their families. It also gives voters a chance to communicate directly with state lawmakers. This year's featured speakers are Bunny Pounds with Christians Engaged and Brandon Showalter with the Christian Post. Bob Price, Family Life News.
And most students just attend school, but some suburban Rochester students are also building one. A group from Honeoye Falls Lima High School is volunteering with the nonprofit Linking Hands for Learning to help build a small schoolhouse in Nicaragua. Some of the students who've already been there tell WROC it was life-changing.
It's got me thinking about how I can help other people a lot.
It inspired me to look at life in a different perspective and realize that I am fortunate and I need to give back.
The students spending their break week to help complete a school that other students started last year. Now to adults building houses, our hometown hero today, Bill Sears, and the Kingdom Builders Ministry in Central New York. Our own Mark Webster has this.
A lot of times it'll be minor construction. It's not like he's building a house for anyone, but there's a lot of leaky roofs, leaky windows, rotting windows, things that need to be done to a home that people have let go over time just because they haven't had the ability to address it. Since the beginning, we've taken 74 applications in total, and that has resulted in, to date, 28 projects completed. There's 7 projects in the queue currently. We address those as funding becomes available for us.
This really does just bring to life, love your neighbor is a big way to do it.
Well, yes. Our tagline on our card is serving God through serving others.
And the very name, Kingdom Builders, you're doing some building or at least some repairing, but talk a bit about more like the spiritual aspect of this and how that comes into play as you do that work.
That's really a burden, certainly on Andy's heart. He is very much a people person, and his desire is by using the gifts that God's given him to bring others into the kingdom. And the construction is really just the practical aspect of it that gives him an opportunity to be introduced to these people. Through that relationship, hopefully, have some very good discussions of the gospel and God's love for them. And that's resulted in a couple of people coming to know the Lord through this. He first tries to meet the practical needs, and then that kind of gives him the opportunity to address the spiritual through developing that relationship. A lot of it's been elderly, single-parent families, but also a lot of people that have had health issues, and are down on their luck for whatever reason. But in every case, certainly by going in and helping them with those practical needs gives him the opportunity to start that relationship with them. And many of those relationships have continued well beyond the completion of the project. So the Lord's using it, and we're blessed to be a part of it.
If somebody wants to get involved, either as a volunteer or to even take advantage of the service, how do they go about that?
We have a website. We have a newsletter that goes out. If people contact us through the website, they can certainly sign up for the newsletter and keep on top of what we're doing and how they can help.
That's Bill Sears at Kingdom Builders. You can check out the whole interview online at familylife.org/podcast. Time next for tonight's market report brought to you by Faithward Advisors. Wall Street is closing high with the S&P 500 hitting a record close following the President's Day holiday. At the final bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 10 points to 44,556. The S&P 500 rose 15 points to 6129, and the Nasdaq gained 14 points to 2041. Faithward Advisors is a Christian financial planning firm online at faithwardadvisors.com.
Today, quotable quotes about investing. Hi, I'm Rob West with a Faith and Finance Minute. Blogger Nick Majuli compiled these clever quotes for us. Famed investor Benjamin Graham said, "The investor's worst enemy is likely to be himself." That's a warning not to get carried away by emotions that lead to bad decisions. On that same point, Paul Samuelson said, "Investing should be more like watching paint dry or watching grass grow. In other words, don't try to rush things." Here's one more from Philip Fisher. "The stock market is filled with individuals who know the price of everything, but the value of nothing." Well, investing is important to prepare financially for later life, but always keep your eye on the long term. It will pay off. Manage your finances wisely with the easy-to-use FaithFi app. Download FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store, or learn more at faithfi.com.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, just how bad do you want that banana at the grocery store? What if it came with an extra side of snake? A crazy story from Family Life's Brian Query up next after weather.
It'll be bitterly cold tonight with partly cloudy skies, some flurries, and areas of blowing snow in the open countryside. Also lingering will be areas of heavy lake snow south and southeast of Lake Ontario. Low temperatures around or just under 10 near Lake Erie, down to 0 In some of the colder spots inland, wind chill sub-zero. On Wednesday, some sunshine continued very cold. Heavy lake snow will continue, though, south and southeast of Lake Ontario. High temps tomorrow, teens and low 20s. Wind chills frequently at or below zero. Thursday, rather cloudy with a bit of snow and a high temperature in the lower 20s.
It's pretty miserable out there today. Stay safe on the roads. Finally, at 5, buy a banana, get a snake. The banana shipment a little off at a New Hampshire grocery store. Family Life's Brian Creary fills us in.
The unwanted hitchhiker was identified as a cat-eyed snake, a venomous species native to Ecuador. Conservation Officer Griffin McEwen said they've had a few calls about pet surrenders of ball pythons, but never a venomous snake. The 2-foot-long snake was turned over to the care of Rainforest Reptile Shows. Brian Query, Family Life News.
Yeah, those bananas, not worth it. And that's the world that we live in for Tuesday, the 18th of February. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.
From the breaking news stories that are shaping your world to the issues that matter most to you and your family, Family Life News will keep you up to date on what's happening. You'll get the information you need and the faith-based perspective you want from a news team you can trust. Family Life News, covering New York, Pennsylvania, our country, and our world, with hourly newscasts, weekday mornings and afternoons, and our weekday broadcasts of the Noon Report and the 5 o'clock report. Family Life News, the news you need when you need it. A friend you can turn to, Family Life.